Now we're live. Look at that.
Yay! Welcome back,
Yeehaw.
everybody.
We're talking taking con jobs.
That's right.
Fantasy ones, that is.
Mm.
Pretty much.
Would you like to work for us? Pays nothing
No,
except expo-
it's never said like that at the beginning. It is, hey, I may have a project you might be interested in. And it's like, all right, tell me about it. And then they just go into the spiel. And then it's like, and then they hit you at the end, as they always do. This is going to be a Kickstarter. So if we make money, then we could pay you. And it's like, yeah, no thanks, I'm busy.
Mm.
But
But think of all the exposure.
exposure kills, my friend. If you're
That's right.
out in the desert and you got nothing on, exposure will kill you.
He died of exposure.
Yep, I'm at that point in my career. I decided a while ago there is not going to. I don't think there is going to be a project that either makes me or breaks me any more than the projects I've already done. So it's like
Exposure has never helped me before. I don't expect it to help me in the future.
exactly. So it's like nope. I am. There have been times that I've said no to projects, and you know what? It's okay to say no. It's all
And
right.
and speaking of dying of exposure, I just happened to notice, I think it was the 4th of August, on Facebook, it tells you everybody's birthday. My birthday was just yesterday. But, Facebook tells you everybody's birthday. And I think it was the 4th. There were 4 people I knew who had birthdays, and 2 of them had died already. Gary, whoops,
Right.
Gary Guzzo, his birthday, and do you remember Matt Friedman?
Yes, I remember Matt Friedman
Both
well.
of them had the same birthday, August. I think it was August 4th, and I was just like, it made me so sad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man,
Yeah, Matt
4
Matt
people have an
was
August 4th birthday that I know, and 2 of them have died.
mhm.
That's
Yep.
weird.
Sometimes, Facebook will remind you whose birthday it is, and you sit there and you start typing away, happy birthday, happy birthday, and then realize, oh wait, this person, well, thinking of you on your birthday,
Yeah, it's like, ooh,
it's one of those things. But
Mhm.
usually usually when it reminds me of Matt's birthday, a lot of us do still go onto his page
yeah,
and
yeah,
say happy birthday. And his wife, I believe she still keeps the page up.
yep,
And she always enjoyed when people, tell little stories about Matt and stuff like
yeah.
that. Um, I don't know how well you knew Matt
I only knew him a
at
little
Marvel.
bit. I didn't really.
So I knew Matt well because I was on the fourth. I was on the ninth floor
Right.
with him for a while when I first started, and Matt was one of those guys who was so easy to talk to.
Uh huh.
And she would just go in and talk about comics and stuff like that. And I
Hmm.
think he was the one that put me on reading Bone,
Okay.
Jeff Smith's Bone. And the funny thing is like I was thinking about Matt a couple of days ago because I did buy a couple of action figures in a lot. I bought a bunch of those Wizard magazines
Uh,
exclusive figures. So I got a bunch of them, and one of them is the character Bone, and it was like,
ah,
and then it popped me right back to the conversation that I
mhm.
had with him when we were just talking about it. And he was like, oh, yeah, if you haven't read this, it's really cool writing and stuff like that. And, one of the pages that stands out, because I believe he was the one that pointed it out to me, was the stupid rat creatures.
Ah,
And that became a t-shirt on its own and kind of a meme before memes.
right,
We were
right.
actually just taking out the comic and showing the
Yes.
page. And for those who may not have read the book, Bone is being chased by these rat creatures. These are just these big, hairy, monstrous creatures. And he jumps and he's like on a branch, practically on a ledge, but on a branch. And he's sitting there and he's like, well, there's no way these rat creatures are going to jump on the branch because it will kill us all. And the next panel is like they jumped on the branch and he's just yelling at them, stupid rat creatures. And that sold me on, all right, I gotta pick up this book. And this is back when
Ah,
they were individual issues before I even think the first trade was out.
Do you remember what issue that was?
I want to say 4, but I don't know.
Oh, that was early on.
I don't know. It was an early. I'm going to guess it's within at least the first 10 issues.
Okay.
Though I think the first Bone book I picked up might have been issue 8.
Okay.
Because I found a bunch of them when I was in Seattle, and I was in a used bookshop, and they had new comics sitting there. So I picked up
Mhm.
at least 3 or 4 issues of Bone, back issues of Bone, in that shop.
Yeah, it took me a while to get on Bone. There we go. SBPT Feliz Anniversario, Professor Jared. Okay.
Yes, and a happy birthday to you, Jared.
My last year of my 50s. That makes me a little sad because 5's my favorite number.
Right. Oh,
You know that the Grand Comics database does have like a blog roll thing where they post birthdays for comic book professionals. And they didn't post one for you. You have no biographical details on your Grand Comics database page.
I'll have to put some in.
yeah.
Yes.
Put the information in. You can do it.
Yeah.
Also, about 75% of your indie comics are not there.
Right.
They just have the skeletons.
Ah,
I'll have to put them in. Oh, no.
They seem to have your first story organics in a graphic
Right.
story monthly.
Nope, they got that one.
And the first issue of Kansas Thunder is there.
Yeah, I went and looked a couple months ago and signed up for it, but I never did anything about it.
I might as well give me the info. Give me the info, and I'll post it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's Graphic Story Monthly number 4. So how old were you in 1990?
24.
Okay, so
right?
you're
I was born in 66. That makes me 24, right?
Okay, yeah. So
this comes out in April.
This came out in April, so not yet.
So it was 23 still.
And you shared space inside the comic with legends like Jack Jackson, Rick Geary, Kim Thompson, and Jacques Tardy.
I was going to say Jacques Tardy was in there. That's where I first discovered him, was in that series.
There's also a page by Franquin, who we probably would have no idea who it is, because in Europe, Franquin is more famous than Tardy. But because he does one of those mainstream humor series, those are not well regarded in America, because they don't. The people who read European comics in America like the out there edgy stuff, not the mainstream.
And humor doesn't always travel.
Yeah.
By the way, Wilson, have you been following Bunch's hospital stay on Facebook?
I have not. I haven't been traveling. I pop up, I put some stuff on Facebook, and I leave. I haven't actually sat and gone through it. So no, I have not seen.
Our friend Bunch has to have open heart surgery. So he's been keeping us updated on Facebook about it. He's been in the hospital. But I mentioned that because he gave me some comics this past weekend that he said these were really good. I should get them. Then he's like, "Hey, you want my copies? I'm going to get the collected edition." And it's Lex what's the name of it? Solo layout. Superman, The Last Days of Lex Luthor. Mark Waid, Brian Hitch, Kevin Nolan. Let's show you some of the art. And this black label, square bound ones. I like the square bound ones a little bit better when they're magazine size. They open up better. But he said this was really good, and he wanted me to read it. So he gave me his copies, because he's getting the collected edition. It's 3 issues of this black label. So I think it just came out this year. Where's the... Nope, 2023 it came out. Pardon me. Or at least the first issue did. Is Kevin Nolan inking it? Yeah, Kevin Nolan over Brian Hitch. That's interesting. So I got these to read. Not something I'd usually read, but Bunch gave them to me, so I'll read them.
I was gonna say that the art looks like Brian Hitch had become more of a draftsman, but maybe it's Nolan's thinking.
Yeah.
Because the figures, I mean, you can tell the layouts are Hitch, but the figures, the detail looks
Superman's
a little bit different
on each cover, not Lex Luthor. Each cover has Superman. I just noticed that right now.
You got to go with what sells.
No Lex Luthor on these covers.
Nope, it's got to be Superman or a purple ape.
Grape ape.
Grape ape versus Titano. That'd be interesting.
Titano, he has more. He's fought longer.
Yeah,
Grape ape
superpowers.
only had wacky adventures.
And I got a zine this week.
Oh, what'd you pick up?
Cap Fan. Rob Imes does this. If you've heard that name before, is he usually does Ditkomania.
Oh, okay.
Is his normal zine. That's got like 90 issues, I think. And this is only the set in defense of Team America. There's the Team America on the back.
Yeah, I remember that.
Can't wait to read that defense.
They were motorcyclists, right?
Yeah.
Then they were redesigned and renamed the Thunder Riders because Team America is actually owned. The trademark is owned by a toy company.
Captain America number 284 review. So they got all sorts of stuff, zine stuff. And if you want a copy, I think he said there you look up Rob Imes, Imes. I think he said there's a few copies on Facebook. I'm not Facebook, on eBay, or else you can. I think it costs $3.50. You just PayPal him $3.50 with your address. His email is Rob Imes, ROBIMES @yahoo.com. So you just PayPal. That's what I did. I PayPal'd him $3.50, gave him my address, and a few days later, Cap Fan showed up.
Nice.
So I look forward to reading that. What does SB say? Talking about magazine-sized, we have a sudden invasion of German comic book magazines in the newsstands in Portugal this week.
That makes no sense. Not even for the tourists. The tourists are not going to buy comic books.
Somebody wanted them and got ordered. The Germans don't just invade.
Well, they can dump them here.
My Team America fanfic from. Oh man.
Well, this is back in 1985. I'm going to assume the fanfic isn't like the fanfic of today.
SB says, I almost got the Savage Dragon one, but the price was too much. 13 euros. The price in Spain is only 10 euros, the bastards.
Yeah, but how many stories inside?
Other than G-Fan, I don't think I've picked up a fan scene in quite some times.
Yeah, and this is the real fan, Xerox.
Yeah, exactly. Where G-Fan went from being a fanzine, a black and white book, and then the first color they had gotten was red.
Yeah.
Just to add to the logo. And then as the years went by, the cover became colored. And then the inside cover became colored. And then a little while later, there was a splash page in color. So you could really watch the progression as the magazine got more and more. And then it eventually is just about full color, or color spots, especially the photos and stuff like that. But I still considered it a fanzine only because of just the ways to distribute, where you could only get in certain places, and it just, I think, it just passes right into like magazine, but because it's only published 4 times a year, I in my mind I still consider that a fanzine.
Captain Finity is here with a cup of coffee.
Welcome.
I have a question for Captain Finity, because the other day, I had an existential question about time travel.
Aha.
What is the correct word to describe the moment you arrive in another time?
Huh.
Landing, sprouting, manifesting.
Arrival? Spawning? That gets used now for video games. Hello there, Missing Mars.
Hey, man.
I think arrival, because there's, because are you looking for something that has either past tense, future tense, kind of a thing? It's like I I've arrived in the past. I just arrived in the past, or I already arrived in the past.
I showed up.
Arrive seems so mundane.
Materialized?
There should be some formal word for
Yeah, but it needs to
arriving
be
at a time.
easy for people to use. I mean, materialize
It's
is not formal. It's too formal.
Okay.
Yeah, and that may be more teleportation too.
Right.
Yeah, needs something that's specific to time travel. That when we say it, we know that we traveled through time.
Captain Affinity says arrive is good.
Yeah, but you do that when you go to the kitchen.
No,
You walk in through the.
You enter the kitchen.
Okay.
You can arrive. You arrive at a party too.
You arrive at a party.
You arrive at a destination,
Yeah,
and that's what it is. It's a destination.
but he wants a specific that it's time travel though.
Yeah,
like a specific word
okay.
where you have to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. You may have to make up a word.
Yeah.
Something like slide, but slide's already used for teleporting.
And sliding, you slide into other dimensions.
Yeah, that's
via sliders.
Right.
And that didn't do anything with time
sliding windows.
Mm-hmm.
Finity says, okay. Although create is also good, since arriving in the past always creates a new timeline. It's not just a closed loop like Terminator 12 Monkeys. Yeah, it always creates a new timeline, except when it doesn't.
But when I arrive in another time, I don't create. I haven't created myself to the past.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one to try to figure out, because
there's a lot of technobabble that in science fiction that we understand what it means given the context.
There should be a technobabble for that.
Yeah,
traveled, or that's what you're doing. But the
travel is it's not exclusive.
Right.
You got to put time in front of it. Time traveled to. That still doesn't mean you arrived. That just means
it's clunky. I'm looking for a one-syllable word that works specifically for time travel.
Like beamed, except that's teleportation.
Right. Landed.
When you said I beamed there, everybody knows what you mean.
Yeah. Or would it be whatever you use?
Here? I don't think that helps us.
I'm here. I'm then. You travel to the past.
I then to. So I've been buying more Walking Dead comics, and it's been quite an adventure this week.
These the color ones?
No, these are the originals. Back in 2017, I had to sell my early Walking Dead comics because I was broke. Right. Here then was. So since I'm not broke anymore, I decided I wanted to buy them back. But it's a lot. It's issues 3 through 49. So that's a lot of issues. And I was trying to decide if I should get the expensive ones first or the cheaper ones first. And if you remember, I was getting the cheaper ones in bundles if I could. But the expensive ones are, of course, issue 3. That's the earliest one. Issue 19, the first Michonne. And issue 27, the first Governor. Let's see. He says, let's use the word Paulo, e.g. Marty Palos in 1955, thus creating timeline V.
Yes, I'm finally a verb.
Cheaper first, always. You would think so, but but I accidentally bought some of the more expensive ones. I accidentally, because issue 3 back in 2017, I sold for $300. And what I do, as Wilson knows, whenever you're buying something on eBay, you go and look at the sold items. Because what somebody's selling it for is meaningless. You want to see what it has sold for to give you an idea of what it's going to cost you. The economy going to tank anyway. There we go. So you want to go to sold items, look through that to give you an idea of what they're selling for. So that's of course what I was doing. And it looks like this one was selling for still around the same I sold mine for $300 in 2017 raw, no CGC. But most of the issue number 3s now are CGC'd just because it's an early Walking Dead. So I'm looking through, I'm saying, I'm getting the cheaper ones. But I see, and I want them I'm looking for them in good condition. I'm looking for them in, mint condition, which they almost all are. But I'm talking, 9.2 to 9. I'm not, I got to have a 9.8. And I'm looking at the raw ones too. I'm not buying CGC ones. Matter of fact, what are the raw ones I got this week are issue 12, which was $15. That was a pretty good price on that. Then issues, these were a group, 24, 25, 42. These are all the same group still. This is a weird group, but I needed them all. 46. And then this one was just, I don't need, 171 was just in there. But this group, these were $10, $10.50 an issue they ended up being. So not a bad price. Like I said, $15 for 12 was a good price. But like I said, issue number 3, I'm looking at paying $300 for. $300, hope it doesn't cost you the same now. Well, what happened was, it was really weird. And once again, as Wilson knows from buying stuff on eBay, if you've got the high bid with like 4 days to go, you're not getting that item. You're going to get sniped. That's the way eBay works. So I haven't got it yet, but I saw like a issue number 3. I think it was like a 9.4 or something. And it was up for auction, not buy it now or anything like that. And so I put, I'll bid $200 on this one. Then I went, and it had like 5 days to go. So I went about my business getting these ones. And like the next morning, it was up to my top bid, $200. So someone bid $200 also. So there's 4 days to go.
Right.
No one else bid on it.
Mm.
I really didn't expect to get it. So I'm like, I guess I'm getting the expensive one first.
Yep.
Because 4 days later, I got it for $200, which is $100 less than I thought. So I was like, all right. And then this is really weird. The First Governor. Another book. once again, I was looking. I think my estimate on that one was $90. That was issue 27 of Walking Dead. My estimate was $90. I saw once again. I saw a CGC, 9.4 or whatever for auction. I bid $20 on it. There was 5 or 6 days left. I still hadn't even gotten the issue 3 yet, and then I just forgot about it. Then I went on to continue, like, I was obsessively looking for these books too, just keep on checking prices, and I saw a really nice copy of The Governor, once again, raw. I was looking to pay $90 for it. Ended up being around $60. And I was like, ooh. Like I said, I still have this $20 bill and that $20 bid on the CGC, but I'm not even thinking about that, because it's going for $90, $100. So I still haven't gotten it yet. I get this $60, $65 one. I'll have to see what the price. Matter of fact, I have my receipts printed out. I can tell you what I paid for it. Where is it? These are the receipts I've been putting on in the books with them, so I know. $65 for that raw one. I was like, oh, cool. It's in the mail. I'll get that one. And then 4 days later, no one ever bids on the $20 one, which also had $20 shipping on it. So it ended up being like a $45. So I've got a second copy of the first Governor, a CGC second copy that was cheaper than the raw copy I bought. I was like, how did this happen?
That's the thing with eBay. Sometimes you get some good deals that you don't know who's betting, when they're betting.
Yeah.
I've had gotten good luck on betting on stuff, or actually, on the auction of stuff that ends like midday on a weekday.
Yeah,
People aren't paying attention because they're at work.
right.
So I've done like what I would call eBay roulette, where it's like I happen to be up, it's 2 in the morning. Let's see what's ending soon and
Yeah.
get a deal on something. Or again, it's 11 o'clock on a weekday. I've gotten so many things on a Tuesday. At about 11 or 12, walking down my avenue because I happen to be watching something and I get a reminder this is ending in 10 minutes. And it's like, all right, I'll place my bet now and see if I can get it. And sure enough, sometimes, you have people who aren't too savvy on when's the best time to put something up. And so you can get good deals that way. Or, you know, sometimes it just comes down that you're lucky that people either don't know what they have or they're just looking to get rid of it and may
Mhm.
not even be looking for a profit or anything like that too.
And also I noticed, like I said, I have a list of the issues I need and my estimated price. I made that up just so I didn't have to keep looking all the time. But I
Right.
also noticed in looking at the sold stuff, that $20 one I got isn't so uncommon. First of all, not a lot of Walking Dead is being bought right now.
Right.
Not a ton of sold sales. Um, and I notice every now and then, like let's say there's 11 sales of a Walking Dead particular issue. There always seems to be a 12th sale of like a CGC 9.6 for like $20 when it's $100 book. I even saw some poor guy who started his sale at $99, 99 cents or something, and the book went for a CGC Walking Dead went for like $2.50.
Oh,
And I was just like,
that's why
ooh,
you got to put a reserve.
that's
You
rough.
got to put a reserve. That is rough. But these things you learn as you go.
Mr. Ramos, a true sniper.
Now, here's the secret to sniping. Do it on your device, your cell phone, not your home computer.
Ah,
Do it on your cell phone. It's slightly faster. And if you do get sniped, it's just sometimes on the cell phone, it's just quick enough to do your bid. And I usually don't do it till I have like 11 seconds left on it, and then you snipe, and that gets you kind of in it. But again, your handheld device will work slightly quicker than your computer will.
I'm okay with being sniped.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't like losing a bid for an extra dollar,
Yeah,
but
that's what irks me. If I lose it for just a few cents to a dollar. If I
I'm always
lose
like,
it for 20 or 30, fine.
right,
That's
right.
perfectly fine. That was out of my budget. But if my budget was 24 and I lose it for $24.50, oh, it irks me.
But I'm always like, you know what? I put my highest bid in, and you never know. This guy might have gone $20 higher than me.
Yeah, you never know. Mhm.
Tit Goblin is here. Hello there.
Welcome, welcome.
Missing Mars says PC slower than handheld. Doesn't add up.
I think it has to do with connection and, the cell phone technology, slightly quicker.
But the other expensive one I got was the first appearance of Michonne. I was lucky enough to get this one raw because I don't want. Oh, that's another thing. A lot of people are looking for the same money for a raw book for a CG Seed book. And I'm like, you think I trust your grading?
Exactly. It's
No.
just people who don't know what they're doing. They
Yeah.
go and look up Walking Dead number whatever, first appearance, and then go highest price, not even paid, highest price that is being asked for because they don't know to look at the sold.
This is the first Michonne. I believe I sold mine in 2017 for right around 300. I
Nice.
got, I think it was like around the same price, and this one came in at 140 with tax and shipping. So much better price. And the only flaw, it's got a little teeny tiny little mark down the bottom that I don't know what it is. I haven't looked at it that. I had my loop out to look, but it's not like it's like a mark only on that individual cup. But that's not. It's just something that when I'm always looking at them closely, I'm like, oh, look at
Right.
that. There's a mark. But I don't really care because I'm not sending these in to be CGC'd and sending like that. Jared's old now. This channel is for the youth. Yeah. Wi-Fi data usage always slower than hardwired. Well, I don't think my desktop is hardwired, but my laptop isn't, and everything else is well. So now I've got the expensive ones covered, and I also realize I've just never bought expensive comics before. I really don't, and I wouldn't be except for the fact that I want these back. But I do realize I buy expensive books. Like
Right.
I bought omnibuses between $50 and $100. I bought artist editions between $100 and $150. So there's no. I was like, you know what? I say I don't buy expensive comics, but I've bought expensive books filled with comics. I try to buy them cheap, but I think I dropped $150 on a couple of those artist editions, those super oversized ones. Eric P says, I've been meaning to see about selling my early Walking Dead issues. I already did that in 2017 when I was broke. Now I'm buying them back. just because, just for emotional reasons. And I'll sell them if I'm broke again. Don't you worry.
I've done it before. I'll do it again.
It's like I almost want to buy some back just to have them to sell if I'm ever that broke again. Because it's good to have expensive comics to sell when you're broke.
I'm not sure if they're going to go up in price anymore.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because we've gotten to the point. So since the Walking Dead's not on anymore.
No, the other Walking Deads are on. So yeah, I don't watch any of them, so I don't really know.
Yeah,
it's quite possible that the price is just going to go down.
Yeah, I mean they have gone down. I've got issue 3 and issue 19 for cheaper than I sold them for. So I'd say the price has gone down. But that's good for me because I want the comics. But I still have to get all those other early issues. But whenever.
Yeah, these things go in cycles. It's like when I sold my Toy Biz toys, they sold pretty well. And I had a good collection of them. I sold most of them individually. This is back when you could sell them one by one and make some pretty good money. And then now it's like, I've been getting groups of like 12 for next to nothing. And it's like, I don't know if I'm technically buying my collection back for a whole lot less than what I sold them for. So it's like I'm just, having fun, just, recollecting these and then getting figures that I never had before. And in some cases, getting doubles or even triples because I'm buying lots of them. And so it's like, all right, I'll have extra ones. And, maybe I won't be able to sell them individually again, but I may be able to make teams and then sell completed teams.
Right. As Barr says, old, higher graded comics going for big money to rich baby boomers who are retired. Yeah, that was especially happening during COVID. Oof. But
Yeah,
like
very much so.
the older Gen Xers are retiring too. My sister, who's 2 years younger than me, just retired last year from being a teacher for 25, 35 years. I forget which one was.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, there definitely aren't as many walking from looking at the sold list. There's not as many Walking Deads being sold right now as in 2017. That's for sure. So I guess but then again, I never thought Invincible would be an expensive book, but thanks to the animated TV show, that book's off the charts.
Yeah.
Invincible books that you could get for a couple bucks are now hundreds.
2 weeks ago, I saw a channel. There was like an issue of Negative Burn that all of a sudden jumped in price to ridiculous values,
Uh-huh.
selling for over $50.
Why was that? What was in it?
Some short story inside. I don't remember what it was because I don't even remember what specific issue it was. But it's Negative Burn. What the hell?
Yeah, those early issues of Invincible are super expensive now. I was like, whoa. I had a few of them that I got rid of years ago. I don't think I had the first issue because I started buying the collected editions because I was late to it. And I was reading somebody's issues at Marvel. I forget who. Oh, I did get another thing off of eBay this week. Where is it? I decided to get Box Office Poison #1. You've heard me mention this comic before.
Yes.
And of course, it's all in collected edition. I never got issues 1, 2, and 3, but I have them in like a collected edition. So I never got this in the 90s. And I've had the issues on mycomicshop.com. I've had the issues on my want list for like 2 years now, but I only put in an order once every year or two at mycomicshop.com. And issue 1 seems to never be there. It sometimes shows up and then it goes away. Sometimes like 2 and 3 are always there. They're always like $3 a piece. So I was like, you know what? Let me see how much it goes for on eBay. This is a high grade copy, which is the phrase I was doing my I was showing this off on my video this week, and I kept saying high res copy. And I'm like, no, it's not high res. It's high grade. I for some reason couldn't think of the phrase high grade. But this was $11, shipped and taxed. So it was like not expensive at all. It does look like a really nice copy too, really sharp. The white border around it makes it look sharp too because it doesn't get ticks on it. But I'm just happy to have this one because Box Office Poison is one of my favorites. It's really a nostalgic 90s comic for me now too. So I was just like, you know what? Since I'm buying all these Walking Deads, let's look up box office poison. Sure enough, there was a copy for me, $10, no problem. And like I said, I'll get issues 2 and 3 someday when I put in a my comic shop order because they're only like $2 or $3 a piece. But I'm glad to have this one. I've never even seen the original issue. By the way, it says in the indicia that there are only three. There was the print run on this was 3,000. Same print run as Walking Dead #1. Little difference in price though.
Yeah. 3,000. That's like I think 2,000 less than Ninja Turtles 1. I think Ninja Turtles 1 prints 5,000 copies, or they paid $5,000 for
3,000. I think it was 3,000.
3,000
So I
copies.
think 3,000 is usually what these low res ones are.
Low
This one,
print.
older, higher grade comics going for big money to rich baby boomers. All right, we already said that. Okay. Thumbs up the vid if you like, peeps. Yeah, thumbs it up, peeps. Retiring at 57. I have to teach till 67 to retire. 42
Yeah,
now.
it's
Yeah.
against the law here to retire before you turn 67. Everybody retires at 67. Doesn't
Oh, wow.
matter, because we don't have a retirement plan. You pay Social Security, then the government decides how much they want to pay you.
Well, I don't think you can retire that young anymore because she got in, because this is New York State, and the district she taught in had good retirement. The retirement plan isn't as good as it once used to be. So she got in early. If you were to start teaching now or started teaching 15 years ago, you wouldn't be retiring at 57. I hear you, SB. 65 for me is I'm not a government worker and need health insurance. Yeah. SB says, I have a great curiosity on box office and Akiko from old Wizard reviews. Yeah, I like it. Box office poison is one of my favorite. And now it's just so filled with 90s nostalgia from me. So,
yeah, because Box Office Poison and Akiko are among the indie comics that were reviewed by Tom Palmer Jr.
Okay.
in the indie pages. So there are a few that people who were superhero fans heard about because they read them in Wizard, and they might be willing to give a few of them a try. Like I remember Strange Haven, and one day a Portuguese publisher decided to do a Strange Haven graphic novel. So they have like the first 3 issues in one book, and they got the guy to come here, and I got mine signed. I still have the book around here somewhere. But yeah, it's like one of those. They mentioned Box Office Poison and Akiko, and there was the one with the superheroes at the diner. What was that called? Coffee Grounds or something.
Okay, I don't remember that one.
Because then a few years later, the original one was a real indie book, all black and white, all scratchy. But the stories were interesting. So a few years later, somebody else at Image got the guy to do the comic again, but just the scripts, and decent artists would do the stories in color. And I have those. Common Grounds, that was the name of the comic.
Common Ground. Oh, I think I do remember that one now. I don't think I ever read it, but I always meant to.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I remember that one now. Only Whisper Keys are high res value. Eric P says, typical USA boomers get the good retirement deals. Most everyone younger gets screwed. Yeah, my sister's Gen X, so she's not a boomer, but I think she still got in on those because she started teaching so young, right out of school in her early 20s. There was still a good deal before everything got chipped away. Paulo Costa, unless you work for a bank or you're a politic, you only retire that young if you're on your deathbed.
Yeah.
Too much coffee, man, Paulo. Oh, yeah, I remember Too Much Coffee, man.
No, I remember that.
We got Shannon Wheeler came here once, but not to talk about Too Much Coffee, man, because it was because of there was an exhibit on his New Yorker cartoons.
And because it's my birthday, my sisters got me a couple things off my Amazon wish list, including this one, Adrian Tomini. What's its name? Q&A. That's it. Q&A.
Mhm.
And it's mostly an interview with some of his art in it, too. So I figured I'd give this one. Oh, there's a nice studio picture.
Yeah. To me, he's got a very interesting art style, but the stories look so quiet that I don't want to pick up the book so that I don't disturb it.
Yeah, I like his stuff. He's also done New Yorker covers.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to get a subscription, like a digital subscription to the New Yorker, just because it has such beautiful covers. Because it's weekly, so there's a lot of covers.
There's a lot. I had a subscription for a while, and you cannot keep up with it.
That's why I want a digital subscription. That way they don't have to. And it's like, just because I want to see all, and I think you have access to their archive if you get a digital subscription.
Yes.
So
check with your library.
Oh, that's
and you can use the library app, and you'll have access to some of the subscriptions to some magazines. The New Yorker may be one of them. I once did like a deep dive in the New Yorker and was like, maybe I could submit a comic, and I wrote like 10, because you have to submit like 10 comics at a time.
Right.
So I wrote like 10 of them, and then it's like, these seem to be funny. Now I got to draw them. And then it's like I didn't get any further than that. But I took like a deep dive because they were one of the only few magazines that still does artwork for the magazine.
Right.
And they still pay for that. Or at least when I did the deep dive like 5 years ago about it.
Well, let's see. Tit Goblin's got a weird question for us. If you had that mental disease that makes you constantly want to eat bizarre things, and the thing you was eating was a comic issue, what comic issue title would you eat?
Chew is obvious. It's right in the title.
I think I could eat a lot of Slash Maraud number 2s.
Who remembers Slash Maraud?
Only Tit Goblin.
Slash
Maraud.
Slash Maraud.
Yeah, but it's kind of Slash Maraud had art by Paul Galassi. It's kind of a shame that it got lost, that nobody remembers it.
I would eat Youngblood number 1s. I think that'd be exciting. You make my insides.
I would go for the Chrome books. That metal in your blood kind of a thing.
I would Youngblood fighting in my gut. It'd be like, give me superpowers.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably eat. I don't know. I have to think about this.
Like, do you eat something that there's so many of?
Got the Summer Blonde, Adrian Tomini's book last year. I was not expecting that degree of emotional violence.
Yeah, talking about your emotions is quiet.
Eric P says Slash Maraud deserves a collected edition.
Yeah, it does. So there's that thing that Hannigan did, Skull and Bones. That also deserves a collected edition.
Slash Maraud.
And what is that thing? I'm forgetting. It was an epic title with a funny name.
That doesn't narrow it down. Void Indigo?
No. There is I don't think they finished Void Indigo, so it would.
That's the first funny name one that popped into my head.
Steel Grip Starkey and the All-Purpose Power Tool. That deserves a collected edition.
I was thinking of that when you said the name.
Oh my God, those Chromebooks would turn you into a mutant, Wilson. I don't think you get turned into a mutant. It might activate his X gene, but you got to have that X gene to begin with.
Right. I'm counting on it to activate something.
I'm shocked that we don't have a Dead Enders collection.
We don't?
I was so disappointed in Dead Enders. I was really into Ed Brubaker at that time. I liked that was before he was big. And he had just done some stuff I had really liked. And I got Dead Enders and thought it was really bland.
Now, there is a collection. It says here, Wikipedia has an ISBN number for the complete series trade
There you
paperback.
go. For me, nothing less than Marvels or Kingdom Come SVP DVD. Look, it's Sleepy Reader. Greetings and salutations, comic book sages.
Oh, and go to his channel to watch his talk with Donald Rex about Charlton Romance comics.
Yes, I watched that, and I wanted to. I was going to leave it in a comment to Sleepy, but I'm like, it's too long. Hopefully, he'll see our show tonight. Because he was talking to, what was his name, Paulo?
Donald Rex.
Donald Rex, who has been publishing his own sort of short run Charlton Romance titles, where he's basically been scanning them in, cleaning them up, and making like 10 copies of them on a short run printer. So he's really, so he's like not really, are they in public domain? Are they not? He doesn't know. Donald Rex. There we go. That's his name.
Yeah. Donald has his own fanzine. What's the fanzine called? Because I always forget. I think Terrence introduced it.
I can't remember. But Mort Todd might know who owns the reprint rights to Charlton stuff, because he has some of them. Mort Todd has been publishing a book called Charlton Arrow. He's done that over the last, 10 years or so. And if you go to the Charlton Arrow Facebook group, you can find Mort Todd. Mort Todd used to be an editor at Marvel. That's where I know him from. And he was, at one point when Charlton was in bankruptcy, he actually went to one of the auctions and bought a lot of stats, black and white copies of the Charlton artwork. And I think he doesn't own the rights to all those stats, but some of them are in the public domain and some of them he has. So he's been reprinting some Charlton stuff from those stats that he's then colored. Somewhere here I have an issue or two of Charlton Arrow. So if you really want to find out who owns the rights to the Charlton stuff, Mort, I think, knows. So go to the Charlton Arrow Facebook group, find Mort Todd. He's now doing stuff with Ditko's family. Yeah. He's the one who's helping them publish Steve Ditko's nephews publish Ditko's creator-owned stuff. So Mort's been back in the news. I saw him like a month or two ago. He was making the rounds on YouTube shows and such stuff, making the announcement that they're coming out with some Steve Ditko things. Yeah. Pass that on to Donald. Thanks. You're welcome. Pass that on to him. Mort Todd. Death. MORTD TODD. That's his pen name. Well, I think he actually changed his name to that. I'm not 100% sure, but that's his name he's been going by as long as I've known him. And he picked it because it means death.
Yeah.
I think it was also a comic book title called Mort Todd.
Yeah?
I think so.
There was a Mort the Dead Teenager.
Okay.
There's that, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
I think Todd means death in German.
Yes.
And of course, Mort means death in French.
Yep.
So,
I mean, his real name is original too. I mean, if you wanted to use his real name, it would work.
I forgot what it was.
Michael Delphine or something like that.
Yeah.
I've never seen him use it, so I've never called him that. Yeah. And speaking of collected editions, another one that my sister got me is one of the new printings, Hulk Smash, of Chris Gerusso's Mini Marvels, written and illustrated by Chris. Matter of fact, I saw, where was it? It was last week. We saw, I was showing one of the Marvel comics I got, and they had an ad for this in the back. I was like, oh, look at that. He's getting an ad. But there was also a really nice comment by someone left on my my weekly haul video when I was showing this off in this week's, and someone left a comment saying, that issue has a lot of emotional resonance or something like that for him. He really loves it because when this particular guy, I forget his name, I've never seen, I don't think he's ever left a comment before, said when he and his family were moving out of state or somewhere, he bought this for his son, and his son really took to this. He loved this issue and read it the whole time they were driving, and this issue, this is what got his son through his move, through it, like a turbulent time in his son's life. So he really has strong feelings about this issue of Mini Marvels. I thought that was really nice. I'll have to show that to Chris. But yeah, Chris's Mini Marvel stuff.
Nice.
And a nice new print. I think there's a second volume too. I forget, maybe a Spider-Man one. I'm gonna have to see. Oh, Eric P says he only saw the collection of the first story arc of Dead Enders.
Apparently there is a complete one.
Yeah, these can easily slip by you.
Yeah, especially if it was not published by. It may have not been published by Vertigo, which is how it slips by you.
Tit Goblin says someone who changed their name to Death. I would like to know what comic he would want to eat forever. Mort the Dead Teenager.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Maybe it'll make him a teenager again.
Death, the high cost of living.
Chris Pallowing in 3, 2.
No, that's if Chris was time traveling. Unless we get Chris from 20 years ago, and we get Chris with hair.
Chris is at Terrific Con this weekend. I do believe.
I might see him tomorrow because I'll be going to the show to walk around. Show to see if it might be a show that we want to do next year. So I'll be going there with my buddy Eric, and then we'll be walking around. And Chris is on my list of people to stop by and say hello to.
Bob Wyachek will be there too, I think. I just gave him. A matter of fact, I don't remember one of our audience members here. Last time we were talking about Bob, recommended a book to give him, which was a book written by an artist who went blind and then learned to paint again. So I actually did. I got a copy of that book off of eBay, and I gave it to. He came to my barbecue last Saturday. He and his son Ian. So I gave him that book, and Ian said he was going to read it to him. It's cool. I was like, all right. Nice. So whoever recommended that book, which I can't remember the name of now, I got it to Bob.
Excellent.
Captain Finity now says, now we have to change Abba's Arriva to Abba Paulo.
Well, I have like 2 degrees of separation from Abba.
Ooh.
Because I have met a Formula One driver, an ex-Formula One driver, from Sweden called Slim Borgud, who was a session musician for Björn Ulvaeus, who was one of the members of ABBA. But he entered Formula One with his car sponsored by the band in 1980. Nice. In 1981. Some people even say that he was the ABBA's drummer. He wasn't. He did session stuff for Ulvaeus, but he did have his own band called Solar Plexus.
That just reminded me. I don't know what mentioning ABBA. I guess I have. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 degrees of separation with everybody on my sister's show, The Gilmore Girls, since Sebastian Bach came into the bullpen one day.
Yeah.
And I met him, and he was a regular on the show for a little while. I'm like, hey, never thought of that before.
My degrees of separation is to Abraham Lincoln.
Ah.
So I met Joe Simon. So I
Right.
got to go to his studio, and I met Joe Simon. When Joe Simon was a kid in school, he met a Civil War soldier.
Oh, I think I was just reading that story.
It's in his book, My Life in Comics, I think is the
Right,
name of the
right.
book. So he met a Civil War soldier who had shaken hands with Abraham Lincoln. So so that's basically 3 handshakes away from Abraham Lincoln.
Yep. So
It was
that
like
means
I'm reading the book one day and I'm like reading this thing and like, hey, that's neat. Wait, I shook hands with the guy who shook hands with the guy
that
who shook hands
means
with Lincoln.
everybody who's met Stan Lee, which is of course everybody
Right.
in the comics industry, has is 4 degrees of separation away from Abraham Lincoln too.
Yep.
He knew Joe Simon.
Yes, right. But I don't know anyone who knows Abba.
Nah, I don't know anyone else.
that I'm aware of. I've met enough
I wonder if
actors
Sebastian
and rock
Bach
stars.
does.
What's that?
I wonder if Sebastian Bach does.
Yeah, maybe.
Does he know ABBA?
If he doesn't, he knows someone who does.
Right.
I imagine.
I was just saying because the one rock star that I've met is because I wasn't there for the Sebastian Bach one, but I was there for at least 2 members of Kiss.
Right. I can't remember if I met Gene Simmons or not.
So did you ever go to the parties at openers? That was
No,
after one of the New York
that's not-
Comic Cons.
But I did some work for him at Marvel,
Okay.
getting paid directly from him.
Okay.
And I think he came in, but I don't remember. It's like, am I just imagining that he came in, or did he really come in? I don't know. That's just funny.
The few times that I met him during my Marvel days, well, that's the only times I met him during the Marvel days, was at one of the California cons and
Okay.
then the New York Comic Con. He was definitely at the New York Comic Con. And if he was at the New York Comic Con, maybe he came to the offices.
Because
I don't recall meeting him at the office, though.
I was in there. I was actually in Dawn's office. It's like I wasn't even in the bullpen. I was working on Dawn's computer in Dawn's office, in Virginia's old office, is when Dawn was running the bullpen. And the reason I can't remember he was actually there was there was lots of people hovering around me, and everybody was telling Gene Simmons stories. So I'm like, he may not have actually shown up. There just may have been so many Gene Simmons stories going on that I thought he was there.
Very, very well possible. Yeah, because I know like New York Comic Con.
Hogan, I met him too at the bullpen. He showed up.
Oh, okay. The only person that came while I was still at Marvel that was famous was Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay.
I
I
met
knew he was
him.
in the building, but I never saw him.
I saw him because he walked by my office and looked in and like, that was Jerry Seinfeld. Then there was who else? The actor that played Spock's father, Mark Leonard. He came in to sign some Malibu books because he couldn't travel, so he came to the Marvel offices to sign the books.
Foreigner showed up too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was one of the more embarrassing ones because everyone was just working, doing stuff. And Mark Grunwald was shown around and he was like, "Hey, everybody, it's Foreigner." And there were just crickets. No, it was just like everybody was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. The only ones who'd get an even colder introduction would be Toto.
Yep.
No, I liked Africa.
Yeah, Captain Finity, my 2 degrees of separation from Albert Einstein because my grandfather paradoxically co-wrote a book about physics with him. I'll definitely be mining that connection for marketing purposes. SB says, without the face painting now, one says he is Gene from Kiss.
Well,
no. He is no.
Well,
One says.
No, I mean, I'm sure we've all seen Gene Simmons' real face. Yeah, that's Gene Simmons.
Yeah,
Gene
yeah.
Simmons.
Basically, he was again when I met him, he wasn't wearing makeup. He didn't go to conventions with the makeup on.
Oh,
They were
another
celebrating
comic I
his
got on
nation.
eBay this week. Let me just show this one real quickly. Once again, this is one I was late to. This is Department of Truth #1, the Jenny Frison cover. And I have like a completely different cover, like a 6th printing, and it's got these. I don't know if you can see them here. There's like 3 weird yellow dots
Oh,
on in amongst the red, and I was like, "What is that?" That's something in the printing.
I think that might be a printing thing. Maybe there was oil or something on the
Yeah, I
paper
was
and
just
it
like,
didn't
I've
stick
never
to the
seen that before. That's
printer.
just weird, but it's in the print. It's not like I don't know technical, but this one was 1026. So a cheap one. Like I got it just because I wanted a first printing of this and I liked the cover. The comic itself was 325. The shipping was 622. So it's like one of those. If you're getting a single issue off of eBay, you're paying $10 for it at least. It's like that's just the way it is. So
Yeah,
you,
I if I'm buying something from somebody, I usually also check out their store to
yeah,
see if there's something else I may want to just at
right.
least combine the
I
shipping, so
usually
I
do
don't
that too.
feel like they're taking too much from me.
But this was just kind of an impulse buy. I was like, you know what? I really like that cover. I don't have a first printing of #1, so I'll get one. Why not? And also, I don't know if it was Box Office Poison or that one. They sent me a couple of freebies that they just threw in. Icon #2 and Danger Unlimited #2.
Nice.
You know, what the heck? I guess they were like, hey, here's some extra books. We can't sell these.
Sleeper keys.
Sleeper key. Well, these aren't even sleeper. These are dead and buried. They're not moving at all.
Oh, but wasn't it established that dead keys or something now?
Yeah, that's another one. Oh, and here's something I just noticed this week. Do you remember our over under on Penthouse Comics?
Oh yeah.
11 issues was our over under. I think we all picked the under.
hmm
I have no idea if they're out of business, but they put out 6 issues the first year. And then they weren't going with issue #7. They were renumbering with issue #1
Okay.
for 2025. And issue 2025 issues 1 and 2 were solicited earlier in the year, but if you noticed, I haven't shown them.
Right.
And why haven't I shown them? Because I don't think they actually exist. Because I was just checking them out this week, trying to find. I'm like, did I miss those? I'm like, because Roy doesn't miss things on my pull list. He's there. My comic shop is good at getting all the comics in. So I was looking at, and sure enough, if you go online and look for issues 1 and 2 of this year, you can find them in terms of them being solicited, but it says out of stock everywhere. Out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. I.e., I don't think they ever got them into stock. You can't find them on eBay. So I think the under may have one, but I'm not sure yet. I
Yeah,
don't.
it is possible
Yeah, it's possible.
that it is stuck in the diamond limbo
Oh yeah, there's that too.
because
I
there's
forgot about
that
that.
because there are publishers who are like, you
You are
have our
right.
books. Where are our books?
I
And
com-
Diamond is like, we are going to sell them and not give you any money.
I completely forgot about that.
So it is possible that they do exist in a
Yeah,
diamond warehouse and they're stuck there. There's quite a few published books that are there.
because if you go to
Uh,
the Penthouse Comics website, it doesn't. It says, "Hey, we got these 2 new issues out," but you can't get them,
you can't get them. And there's
and it
the
doesn't say they're so. So I'm not sure if they're still around or not.
right. and the publishers who do have their books trapped have announced it. Our books exist. Diamond has them hostage. We can't get them back, and some small publishers might even declare bankruptcy themselves because of this. But as you said, you've been to the website. Most all of the publishers are announcing that, hey, these are where our books are.
I
So
saw
they're not
no
even saying
announcement.
that. Mm.
Captain Finity says, the only comic I bought this month was a third edition of City of Glass. Buying 3 editions is a little excessive, but City of Glass is an absolute favorite graphic novel of all time. I've been meaning to check that one out, but I actually haven't. Who does that one again? Is that what's his name? Is that Paul Revouche? I can't remember, but that's one I've always been meaning to check out, but still haven't.
I don't recall I ever heard of it.
I think it's a famous novel that became a graphic novel, I think, or is it just a graphic? I can't remember because I don't actually.
Paul Auster.
Paul Auster. There we go.
Yeah.
Paul. But speaking of doubling up, I also got for my birthday off my Amazon wish list, Hate Revisited, the trade paperback. I have all the issues that came. These came in. I've read it already. But of course, I wanted to collect one of my all-time favorites. This was, if you like Hate, this was a terrific volume. Oh, David Mazzucchelli did the art. Okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's why I've always wanted to check it out then, because it's Mazzucchelli. One of my favorites I think there's a little embossing on this. Either that or it's bumpy for no reason. No, there's a little embossing going on. I can feel it. Can't really see it, but I can feel some embossing. Then you really get their money's worth out of that embossing. Let's see if we can. Can't see it on the other side, but this is just one of my all-time favorites. So I'm getting the collected edition too. But now my complete Hate hardcovers aren't complete. Oh well. Mr. No Name 97 says, greetings from Germany. Good evening. Hope you're all right. Hello there.
Hello. Welcome.
We're doing all right here.
Cool. Nice to see more Europeans in the area.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Of course, we do have a German comics YouTuber, Earl Grey.
Yep. I've been meaning to watch his, he just put out a video on one of the volumes of Corbin.
Yep.
But I haven't watched it yet. But I will. I think it's a volume I don't have yet. I got the first 5 over there. I think that was, or 6. I think it was one I don't have. It may be the very latest one. Want to show some comics you got, Wilson? What do you got there?
Sure. So went to the comic book shop on Wednesday and I picked up some books. So what I picked up off the shelf is Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, issue number 1. And this is the cover I picked because it has Godzilla basically looking like the Thing.
Yep.
So it's a nice little pickup of that because you guys know I love a team up, and the wackier the better. And Godzilla is visiting the Marvel Universe.
Now that one's not just a one shot, right? That one's continuing. Is that mini or something like that?
I think they're all one shots.
Oh, that's right. That one's the series of one shots. I can't remember. I think there is one that's like a 4-issue one. I can't remember what it is.
Yes, this is the one that's the continuing. So
okay.
The one with the title Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe is the one, the continuing issue.
Okay.
And then the one shot says Godzilla versus Spider-Man, Godzilla versus Fantastic Four, etc., etc.
I thought one had
series. And staying, I guess we could say, in the kaiju genre, the next book is Power Rangers Prime, issue number 9.
There we go.
And I think this 20th anniversary of Boom. Staying, I guess you could say, in the Japanese line, Gotcha Man issue number 11.
Screaming gotcha men.
Yep, everyone has something to say, and they're all yelling at the same time.
Ah,
And since there's a helmet on and this plexiglass is over them, the only person that's hearing them yell is themselves.
Maybe they're wildly chewing gum.
That's possible too. Issue number 17 of Thundercats. And I swear, one of these days I'm going to read them all. And then the last issue, which I have 2 copies of because I made the mistake of pulling one off the shelf, not realizing I had one on my pull list. So I now have 2 copies of Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone.
Yep.
But it's a nice cover. Although, if you looked at it quickly, you would almost think that maybe that this is Godzilla dressed up as a human.
Yeah,
And it's like he has this weird,
Godzilla's in the background there.
yeah, so this duck bill looking thing. So at first I thought this might have been a monster walking around in whatever apocalyptic world that is.
That looks vaguely Von Baudet-ish.
I
Yes.
think I know who that is.
He's an underground guy from the early 70s who died young.
Oh, okay.
He did these like nuclear apocalyptic landscapes that were a little cartoony too. Let's see. Yeah, I can't really talk about comics because I don't have any knowledge, but I have been watching your videos for 5 years now. Right?
There you go.
As long as you're having fun. What, Werewolf by Lunchtime is here too. I think I've been selling my Invincible singles on eBay in bundles of 5. Been surprised about how much they're going for. Yeah, I was just saying that's a book that shot up in price.
Yeah.
He says, "What's up, guys?"
Hello.
And comics from Germany in the beginning, and now a viewer from Germany. Friar Tuck is here. I believe Godzilla is destroying a bunch of U.S. cities as well. Yeah, he's doing that for IDW, right?
Yes, that's IDW. That book is called Godzilla Destroys America or Attacks America. And then each city, I don't know how many cities they're going to do. Each city is being attacked. So far, they released one for Boston and LA.
They're going to Kansas City. I remember that.
Going to Kansas City is one of the next ones.
Let's see. SBPT says, "I am so sad. Gatchaman made by the Portuguese artist Nuno Plati got stuck in that previews limbo. Only got the first issue. So I guess Diamond has got their hands on those other ones. He's going to draw Racer X in September."
Oh, Racer X. Oh no, sorry.
There's a new
Speed Racer book already out.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, oh, Racer X is out already, but it's not. I saw the other book, the sister book to Racer X, Speed Racer. So that's Speed Racer is definitely out.
Mr. No Name says, "Yeah, just great vibes here. Very relaxing to listen." All right.
Thank you. We try not to give anyone anxiety in our show.
Sometimes Wilson has to calm Chris and I down, but you know.
Sometimes.
we may give you a headache trying to understand some of the things we're talking about.
Yeah, there's that. But since he doesn't understand comics easy, he's fine with it. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Let's see, I'll show you a couple of comics I got. What was weird is I got a lot of comics ending and a lot of comics beginning this week. Where is ending comics? This is issue 10 of Null Hunter. Here, I'll go solo myself to show you these 3. Issue 10 and 10 of 10 in Null Hunter. And this one has been about the 12 labors of Hercules in sort of a space and cyberpunk style. And I still haven't, I don't really know the 12 labors of Hercules except what I've picked up in reading about it, other people mentioning it. But I know, like, in this end issue, he meets his father, and I think Zeus was Hercules' father.
Yes.
And I know that he doesn't defeat Zeus at the end or anything like that. I know that Hercules didn't defeat Zeus, so he didn't at the end of this either. But it was a fun read. This is the one I was just telling Paulo before we got online. I enjoyed this, but I'm giving it to my students. I'm like, from now, like even with something like I liked, if I'm not going to read it again, I'm going to give it away right away. So that's one that's all 10 issues are going to be on my list to give away to my student. And this is Bitter. I might give him Bitterroot too. So I don't know if I'm going to read this again. Bitterroot issue 5 of 5. Bitterroot, the next movement issue 5 of 5. This was the all monster fighting issue. Oh, and the first page I open up to is no monster fighting.
That is an interesting cover. Kind of Steranko without being Steranko.
Yeah. Steranko, but being a lot sketchier, not graphic. There's some graphic design elements to it, but it's not drawn in sort of a Steranko graphic design manner. But lots of pages of fight. There was like 3 or 4 double page spreads in a row of fighting monsters in this final issue. Oh, there's them flying down to fight the giant monster. So this was a fun series. I enjoyed it. Like I said, this is the last issue of that. So we got 10 of 10, 5 of 5. Then it turns out this is the last issue of Napalm Lullaby, number 10. I had no idea. It just all of a sudden said end. And I think it all ended up being a dream somehow. I'm not 100% sure. This was really weird, this series. It's by Rick Remender and the one named artist, Bengal. I don't know how he says his name because people say that word all different ways. You can say the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cincinnati Bangles.
The Cincinnati Bagels.
Yeah. So it was a fun, confusing series. But it was just weird that all 3 series ended in the same week.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since I wasn't even expecting this one to end. It just did.
Yeah, if that thing's a sort of a fever dream.
Yeah.
I suppose it's not going to be a very satisfying ending.
It started out, the first issue was sort of all about this baby crashing to Earth in a spaceship, i.e. Superman. But instead of being found by the Kents, he was found by these parents who were in a cult. Then all of a sudden it skips ahead 20 years, and the cult has taken over the world. Probably by using Superman's power. You're like, okay, the cult took over the world because they got Superman. And then the issue switches over to this brother and sister who have their own vague superpowers. You don't quite know what it is. And the first issue ended with them saying, we gotta defeat this cult somehow. There never really seemed to be a plan. And then the next 4 issues were about them trying to defeat the cult. And we eventually found out they were the children of this Superman. Hold on. They were the children of this Superman. And they were fighting other children of this Superman who were still on the side of the cult. And like their powers were so weird and vague that I never quite understood what they were. But then, just as they were being defeated, the sister, the girl, somehow wins with her superpowers. And you're like, her superpowers somehow. And they also found out their father, Superman, was also a captive at this point. He wasn't even running around loose. They were still using it, whatever. And she took over the whole entire world herself by, like, she had the power to like dream things and they become real. So now for the next 5 issues, her brother is trying to bring her back to reality to get her to be like, hey, you can't just take over the world with your dream powers. And she's like, why not? My dream powers are making everything better. And then in this issue, to spoil it, as if it wasn't so confusing at all, I think it ended up, this was all a dream of hers. But what does that mean in this story? I don't know. It was really weird, but enjoyable. Have you read any of that, Paolo? Were you
No.
Well,
yeah, I mean, the whole it was all a dream shtick. I know it needs to be really well done.
Right.
I think the last time, although it's not that common, but it's something that can get away from your control pretty easy. I think the last time I even saw it in a comic was the original Sentry series.
Oh, okay.
Because the original Sentry ends, and you don't know if Bob was imagining everything or if it was real.
Mm-hmm.
Then Bendis had to ruin it by making sure that the Sentry was in the Avengers. But if you read the original series, you don't. You read the story; it's real, and at the end, he goes back to being Bob, and it still feels like you don't really know if it's real or not, and that's a good ending.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you show the last page there, and they're looking at that medication, and
right.
It's just crazy.
I don't know. I'm gonna read it again, before I put it away. But I don't know.
From what you mentioned and what you said, I'm thinking that as a comic book creator, yeah, it probably was a dream, but during the dream, it was real.
Right.
So if her brother did stop her and ended the dream, technically it was all a dream, but it was a real dream that everyone, I guess, would have forgotten and dismissed it as a dream.
There was some sort of time loop going on too, because her brother showed up to try to defeat her, and she was like, "Not again! You've tried it so many times."
So maybe his power has to deal with doing the time loop, trying again and
Yeah,
again.
I forget what his power was. Like their powers were so vague at the beginning. That happens a lot in comics these days. People get really vague powers, and you're like, "What?"
But that's
what
Rick
did this
Remender.
person do?
But that was Rick Remender, right?
Yeah.
So he should know better.
Well, no, he has a way. He can change the basic concept of a comic like 10 issues in. He's done, like, if you read Fear Agent, which I liked a lot, like every 12 issues of Fear Agent, the basic concept of Fear Agent changed. Something really weird happened, and the basic concept changed. The same with Black Science. Black Science started out as one thing, then like 20 issues in, morphed into another thing. Then, 15 issues after that, morphed into a third thing. So it's like if you were to read the last issues of Black Science, you probably wouldn't recognize it from the early issues. So he has a way of doing that. So it's not surprising to me that he changed everything. But you know what? I might give this one to my students too, because I'm not sure if I'll ever read it again. May as well give it to them.
Right.
Give them some current stuff. That's why I'm like, I'm not going to be precious about stuff that I buy right away. Like, I buy enough stuff that I can give some to my students immediately. I don't have to sit on it for 3 years until I decide to get rid of it.
And if you want to ever revisit it, there are always going to be the trades.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I actually I I bootleg download the comics I buy for no reason other than I think I should have a digital copy of them because
Yeah,
I
you
paid
bought.
for them.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
already paid for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I do the Marvel books, I always go get the digital version just to
Yeah.
have it. But there's
Right.
been so many times I'm somewhere and it's like, oh, I gotta waste some time. Let me read the digital comics, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I gotta download the app. I gotta open things up, try to remember the logins and stuff like that. And by the time everything's set, oh, it's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
run
like
into that a few
I
times.
generally I'm like I just they're just sitting on a hard drive mostly.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? I want the digital version if I got the comic. I spent money on it.
Yep.
Let's see, what do we got here? D Wait, did you see Godzilla Terrorists America? There's SBPT.
Something like that.
Yeah. SBP Mr. No Name, the only danger here is that these guys are so good influencers, you end up buying the comics they talk about. Captain Finity says, "Oh, and happy birthday, Jared." Why, thank you. Yeah, Mr. No Name says, "Yeah, just pulled out my old DuckTales comic from my childhood just now. Already reading and hooked again."
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
there are new comics with the Ducktales and Darkwing Duck. So if you find them, give them a try.
Yeah.
Mr. No Name says, "Maybe they are more for children, but I don't care."
No, if you're revisiting them and enjoying them, go ahead and
Yeah.
enjoy them, you know?
Or
Besides,
Yeah, some
just
of those Disney books were a lot of fun.
and if you run around the internet, you will find some very dedicated old people who will analyze every page of the Duck comics.
Oh, yeah.
or
'Cause there
just
are
look at the
good duck
pictures
artists
like
and there are bad duck artists, is how they would call them.
or just look at the pictures like what's his name, the Charlton romance guy on Sleepy's channel. He was like, "Yeah, sometimes I just look at the pictures. I like the art."
I
These
like
old Charltons. I don't want to read them.
I do like looking at the art of some of the old Toon books, anything that's cartoony, because it's interesting to look at the details, the backgrounds, and every once in a while, it doesn't happen all the time, but every once in a while, you'll find a story that was like, oh, that was used somewhere else. And it's sometimes maybe the same artist is like, oh, he just changed whatever the character was.
Captain Finity says it was all a dream is generally hated. Yeah, possibly because of Dallas. Yeah, I remember when that Dallas ending happened. I
Yeah,
wasn't
that
a
was
Dallas
big.
fan, but everybody was mad. But I
Yep.
agree, it's not necessarily bad. But as you know, I
Yeah,
despise vague endings. If it's a dream, tell me.
yeah, but now when you pull it was all a dream, they call it the Bobby Ewing.
Effect. Yeah.
SBPT says Paul Jenkins had that talent. Love his Hellblazer run. I first liked his stuff on his he and Jay Lee's Inhumans. That's where I first noticed Paul Jenkins stuff.
Mhm.
Napalm ending. This means Sacrificers is next. Yeah. Captain Vinny says a dream and vagueness and a time loop. Oy vey. Oh yeah. Got
Yeah,
everything going on
we're gonna have to invent a new word for that too.
there. And is the protagonist secretly a robot too? I don't think so. And Missing Mars? Yes, Jared. Happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you. I'm capable of buying two versions of the same book. I am that weird, says FP. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it is kind of a waste of money to get the same book twice if you're trying to buy more books.
Right.
But there are things that I do have twice.
Yeah. There's
There's plenty of books I have twice. Like sometimes I'll see a book in the dollar bin. It's like, ooh, it's easier to buy this book and read it again than it would be to dig it out of the collection. I did that for ROM comic books.
Yeah, because remember that the last time Marvel tried to do westerns, and they did that Blaze of Glory miniseries with art by Leonardo Manco.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had bought the miniseries, and man, this would look great in a graphic novel. So when the TPB came out, I bought the TPB.
That was some beautiful art in that one. I remember holding the artwork for that. He did so much detail. He was all over the place with the inks, using brushes, using everything, even using his fingerprints to do patterns on the leather to make it look like written letter. I'm sitting there looking at it, it's like these are fingerprints. Beautiful art.
Now, would you count a comic with a different cover as buying the same comic twice? I think I would.
Yes, if it has
Yeah,
the same
'cause it's
story.
I think it is.
It is.
A
It's just
different
an
cover
alternate
doesn't
cover.
make it a different comic.
Right. No.
And if I have the book in multiple languages, I bought it twice as well, even if the reading experience is not the same.
Right.
I don't know if I would consider that, because I've bought other language books.
Yeah, but you can't.
And sometimes
It's different when you can read the other languages.
that's true too, but there's also different content outside of that one story too, where you get like some stuff are interviews and things like that. So to me, I think that is a different book, because you do get sometimes more or different content.
I would even consider, me getting the first issue of Box Office Poison, buying the same comic twice, because I have the collected edition with this in it. Even though it's not really the same thing. Most people do it the opposite way. And is usually called double dipping when you buy the series and then you buy the collected edition. And I think most people consider that buying the same comic twice too. So I guess it would be buying the same comic twice if I go back and buy the issue. and it's also buying the same comic twice. When you buy the comic, sell the comic, and then buy the comic back again. But that's a different type of buying.
I think it's a different type. I think that it's a replacement.
Technically,
same
it's buying
comic.
the same comic twice, but just you don't have it anymore. So,
but you sold it and
Yeah.
then got more money for it. Well, not more money. You spend less money buying it back.
Yeah, and technically, it's still buying the same comic twice, but it's usually not what we mean by
Right.
it.
And then now that replaced the old one in your collection because you sold the old one, does that become part of a new collection, or does it go into the old collection, or this is a ship of Theseus at that point?
There we go.
The collection of Theseus.
You know what it is? I have to re-enter it on my database. But once it's re-entered on my database, it looks exactly like the old one.
Right, so it's back into the old collection.
Right. Because I had to delete it from my database. My 3 through 192 had to become 50 through 192. Now I'm slowly adding in those issues.
And it's different than if you lent out the book, because then it would have stayed in your database.
Right.
And then it would have been brought back. So we're just overworking something simple.
Let's see. Captain Finch says double dipping is silly, but I do that too. Yeah. I try not to.
Well, I do remember the first time I double dipped, because I had bought the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen as a TPB. Then I bought the Portuguese edition of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So I have it in both languages. I once picked up a comic in France, and they had one of the Peter David Captain Marvel stories inside, which I had already bought. And then when I started buying collected editions of the stories that I had read in my childhood in the Brazilian comics. But and that kind of counts, because the reading experience, because the size is different, they would cut off pages if they didn't advance the plot.
Oh, yeah.
I just found out the other day, the "Where's My Money, Honey" page in that issue of Cage was cut out because it didn't advance the plot.
one of the best scenes in the book. For a while, I was practically using that on my invoices. I only used it for very close friends when I would like email an invoice because I was doing maybe I was ghost coloring on their project or something, that I would send them the invoice and would put that as a little bumper on it. Now, double dipping, that happens, it's fine. But I'm thinking about it. There are books that I have that or stories, I would say, that I have quite a few incarnations of it. So we have like Spider-Man being my favorite. So it would be not necessarily the original issue, but I do have Amazing Fantasy 15 in quite a few different
Oh yeah.
editions.
Yeah.
So I have, whatever reprint. So it would be the Masterworks, the Essentials, the individual anniversary reprint issues. For a while, they were reprinting the stories in newspapers so that you get like a mini comic. And then there was even a smaller mini comic that was given away for Halloween.
Uh-huh.
So they were books that way. Um, there was a comic that came with, I think, a record. I think they reprinted it that way. And then whatever came in cereal boxes, there were some stories that were reprinted, and not including Marvel Tales, which reprinted everything. So I probably have Amazing Fantasy 15, the story, and maybe 5 or more incarnations and digital. I have the original
Mhm.
digital files that Marvel used. So that somehow came home with me one day. So that particular story, I have them in many different ways and even in different languages. I know I do have that in German.
And I'm not sure what to count this one at. I also got this on eBay this week. I've mentioned before Carla Speed McNeil, one of my favorite cartoonists, artists, writers. Um, Her book Finder, one of my all-time favorites. I found these, and talk about someone. I found these mini comics, mystery date foot. When she does her trade paperbacks, and she's usually, her husband was her publisher, at least in the '90s when I first met her. And I guess she would. And there's a little art print.
Beautiful art.
Beautiful. She's, like I said, she's one of my favorites. And here we have, and this is, I think, from 2000, Mystery Date Companion. And it says, reprinting all existing Mystery Date stories not yet incorporated into the storyline presented in Mystery Date 1 and 2. I haven't read it yet. I may have these stories in, because I think the date, and yeah, this is May 10th, 2000, Annapolis, Maryland. So I think she made this mini comic for cons. I have the Mystery Date. Mystery Date also appeared in regular issues of the Finder. And there was also a Mystery Date trade paperback. These stories might be in the trade paperback. I'm not sure. I haven't checked yet. But also in the trade paperback, she puts these really great endnotes where page by page she goes through and tells you stuff about the page that you may have missed. Note the professor's complicated cranial jack. He has not one, but not two, but three. Two set into the mastoid process, the bony bump just behind the ear, and one set into the base of the occipital bone above the atlas vertebra. This is one of the most sophisticated brain-computer interfaces that money can buy and provides the fastest possible information transfer from head to machine and back. That's just a random thing on page 3. You, as a regular reader, probably would not know. So I love these notes she puts in the back of the trade paperback. Once again, these probably ended up in the back of the trade paperback. But I saw these and was like, okay, I haven't got any new Carla Speed McNeil stuff in ages, so I'll pick this up. And $8.50 for shipping.
We have a request if you could zoom in on it.
Okay, let me show you. Let me get this print out and show you too. Love this little print.
Yeah, that's a really good print. I like the simplicity of it, but
Yeah.
there's still so much detail in it and so much movement.
She is a terrific artist. And graphic design wise, that's just a beautiful place. I'm not quite sure what this can is back here. Finder, mildly abrasive.
Very
Yes.
much like the Ajax can, because of
But
the way
like I
the
said,
holes are on the top.
Finder is one of my absolute favorites. Dark Horse has actually collected her stuff over the years too. There's 2 giant Dark Horse library editions of Finder. Great with all the notes in them too. But she's one of my absolute favorites, so I figured despite the exorbitant shipping, what was the price on this? One item, $8, shipping $8.45. So the total was $17.82. But yeah, really, I just wanted to buy some Carla Speed McNeil. I was like, I want some. Stuck it all in the same bag. Because why not? That is a really nice little print. Gotta say, I dig it. From 2000. She's got a Patreon now. I was just checking out because I haven't seen her do any work in a while because she Dark Horse was her publisher for a while in like the aughts and the 2010s, somewhere around there, but I don't think they publish her stuff anymore. But you can find all her stuff collected from Dark Horse. Jared's need for speed, says Sleepy. Yeah. SBPT says, I am an individual comics guy. It needs more space at home, but I only buy collected editions of hardcovers or something I have read to offer to friends who are not comic book readers. I've done that too. Like, I'm mostly an individual issue guy, but sometimes, like, with hate, I'll lend this out to a friend. Captain Finity says, with Cerebus, I bought the phone book first, and now I'm buying the comics. Is that reverse double dipping? I think so. I think that's what it is.
I'm not sure about reverse. I mean, if you buy the same story twice, it's always double dipping.
But we usually mean when you say double dipping, it's
the same format with
you buy the individual issues and then you buy. So it's only reverse to say we're doing that a different way. We're doing it in the opposite of the time way. Because usually if you're moving forward through time, the issues come out and then the collected edition. So we need a time travel word for that, don't we? It's a way to astound them and see, comics are not for kids only. That's when he loans them to friends. But if you've never read Carla Speed McNeil, I recommend it. That's like, I can't remember. She did a book with Image. It must be 5-6 years ago now. I can't remember what it was, but she only drew it. And my main problem with the book was that I thought she was a better writer than the woman who was writing the book. So I enjoyed the art, but I also noticed, I think as the book went along, she was having some more influence on the writing because it seemed more like her writing. Oh, she also did, that was pretty good, Adam Warren's Empowered. She did a mini series with Adam Warren about one of his empowered, I forget what the name of it was, one of his empowered characters, but that was good stuff. Captain Infinity says dipping double. So we got double dipping and dipping double. Dipping double is going backwards. Sleepy says Paulo's linguistic logic can't be disputed, but there's poetic license.
Well, the thing about poetic license, I actually have an aversion to pop neologisms.
That was I can't remember where. I think I just saw it on a TikTok somewhere. Someone was going through confessions they have to make about themselves or something, and one of them was, I like writing poetry, but I hate everyone else's poetry.
Yes.
that made me crack up. Got anything else you want to show us, Wilson?
I do have one last book that I got. Is
What do you got?
Amazing Spider-Man issue number 9.
Mm-hmm.
So he is not having a good day by the looks of it, because he's literally in a crater of his own body shape on the ground.
Still J.R. Jr. drawing that one?
Definitely the cover. And if he did the cover, chances are he did the interiors. And he has not. So the interiors is being done by Michael Dowling, who's doing all the art. Well, he's doing the pencils and inks. It's colored by Marte Garcia and VC's Joe Camacho. His name is escaping me. Caramanga.
There we go. I knew the name too in my head. I couldn't say
it. Designs by Jay Bowen. Wonder what designs they mean, or probably the credits page.
Okay.
I guess that's how they're crediting the designers of these now. There are more and more names popping up on these indicias.
By the way, I just glanced over at my desktop, and our friend Bunch, who we mentioned before, who was in the hospital, just sent me a photo and a message that says, "The Huns, a gang from the movie The Warriors, left on the editing room floor. Note Larry Hama in the back." I did not know.
I did not know he was in that.
Well, he got left on the editing room floor.
Yeah,
is the
but it's like,
problem, in a gang called the Huns.
Wow.
Huh.
It's funny because earlier, we mentioned Steve, and I'm going through Facebook, and it's like, I don't see any post by him, and it's like, am I still connected to him? And I may not be.
Dupree James is his current name on Facebook.
Okay.
We have to pretend he's Bunch's cousin. I broke kayfabe once, and Bunch got mad at me. Because what it is, our friend
he's not
Bunch,
using Stan anymore then.
No. Well, what it is our friend Bunch has always liked, his sense of humor has always been shocking. He likes to shock people. Of course, Facebook does not like you to shock people.
Mm-hmm.
So he's constantly getting banned by Facebook. So he just has to have a new Facebook account. And he started out going, my friend, my cousin Steve got banned, so now I'm going to post for him. And he pretended to be his own cousin. I don't know why he had to do that. But there was one time somebody was exactly what Wilson said here. He was like, "Oh, I don't think I'm connected to Bunch." I'm like, and I wrote on Facebook, "Oh, you have to look up, whatever his name. I don't even think it was the same name he has now. You have to look up this other guy. That's really Bunch." And I linked him to that name, and Bunch messaged me. He's like, "Hey, don't use my real name in that. I'm pretended to be my cousin. I'm like, what? I broke kayfabe. I
Kayfabe.
didn't. Oh my goodness! I can't believe it. I did. That was something I did. It is very hard to upset Bunch. Like he's one of these people who's unshockable. But I was like, of all the things I could do to get him upset, breaking kayfabe of him pretending to be his own cousin was not one of them. So pretend you didn't hear any of this.
Right.
I'm actually Bunch's cousin, but the real Bunch is in Witness Protection Program.
Yes.
There you go.
SBPT says, isn't that amazing run by Pepe Larraz and Joe Kelly? JRIB doing only the covers. Wilson would know if he actually read the issues.
I would, but just there was stuff going on in the book that was that put Jared off. That made me go, oh, I don't know if I want to read it now.
It was the month that Chris Geruso was doing had a whole bunch of Marvel covers, all of his official handbook ones. So I was reading, I read like 14 or 15 Marvel comics that month, and he did one of the ones he did was a cover to Spider-Man 2, and I came on here and was like, this was one of the issues I couldn't even make it through. It was so bad. and that put Wilson off of reading the whole series. But he's a Spider-Man fan, so he's still buying it.
Yeah, I still want to support the title. Oh, well, that happened. You know who the new Venom is?
Oh, isn't it Gwen Stacy or someone?
No, it's Mary Jane.
Oh, okay. That's right. I think there was a new Carnage too.
Yep. Amazing. It should be fun.
Another first issue I got this week that was very good. Scott Koblish does the whole issue. Is Archie versus Minor Threats. And Minor Threats, the name behind it is Patton Oswalt. He's script Patton Oswalt, Jordan Bloom, and Thomas Heeg. Art Scott Koblish. Colors Hi-Fi. Letters Nate Picos of Blambot.
Nice.
And Minor Threats, I think, is this superhero universe that Patton Oswalt and crew created. And Scott draws a really cute what's her name? The Sabrina?
Sabrina, yes.
I gotta say, he draws a really cute Sabrina. She was like the cutest of all the Archie characters. Some nice layouts here. But the main story is, I don't know anything about Minor Threats. Zero.
Yeah, I know nothing of it.
But they got their own city called something. What is it called here? Whatever, Pretty City or something. Oh, I like this panel a lot. Of her in the library casting a spell. I just think that's so well done right there. Really set the mood for the comic too. But who I assume are the Minor Threats characters, because they're like superheroes. They're in their own city. And the one character is like kicking all the magicians out. She's like, I told you I want no magicians in my city. So I think she killed one at the beginning. She's kicking the magicians out. Meanwhile, Sabrina is on this quest to get a magic object. And all of Riverdale is going into that city on a museum trip. And I got to say, the Archie characters were really well handled. I mean, I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the whole issue thoroughly. And so, the Archie characters are just on their field trip, but then terrible magic things start happening. So as you can see in the beginning here, they're on this flying bus that's about to crash. And Sabrina I didn't know Sabrina is not in with the Archie characters. she's like she doesn't go to Riverdale High. She's kind of on her own with her magic using ants, and she's
Right.
like tagging along. She cast a spell to make Mr. Weatherby think she's going to school there. So she's in there with them. So I got to assume that that Minor Threats woman is going to get into it with Sabrina at some point. But nice first issue. So I think it's a 3-issue mini. But nice first issue. Really enjoyed that one.
Now, did I see the Dark Horse logo on there?
Yes. Minor Threats is Dark Horse.
Okay.
So Patton Oswalt is his publisher is Dark Horse.
Of course. Nice.
Because I think he's sort of, he's Patton Oswalt he's a comedian and an actor.
Right.
But he's also he's also a geek and a comic book fan. He famously made that speech about Star Wars on Parks and Recreation.
Right, where they kind of, in a sense, use some of it.
Yes, to bring back Boba Fett.
Yep.
They actually used the hand coming out of the Sarlacc pit.
But to be fair, that's always been a fan theory that everyone wanted Boba Fett to come back.
And that's pretty much a cliche, too.
Yeah. Very much so. Very much so.
He knew what he was doing.
Cliche. Even in one of my early sketch cards for Star Wars, when this is before Disney, and Topps let us have free range on what we wanted to do, I did draw the pit, and then I drew footprints walking away from it to just kind of indicate he did make it out.
Nice. BPT says, now you've given me nostalgia for the Sabrina TV series. Captain Flynn says, Return of the Jedi clearly isn't canon. I always say my favorite Star Wars movie was the first third of Return of the Jedi with badass Luke Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
This is your last chance to surrender, Jabba.
Yep. I'll give you one more chance.
And that was the first movie I saw in theaters. The other two, I've only ever saw them in
I read the comics,
cable.
but I didn't see the movies.
Yeah, I read the comics, but I saw the. I'm almost sure I saw the first movie as a. I think it eventually came out on television. Or I ever only saw bits and pieces of it, because I know I didn't see it in the theaters. And then the second movie had come out and went, so I didn't get to see that in the theaters. But that I'm almost sure I saw on HBO. And then the third movie, I did go see it in the movie theaters.
And then I saw the 2 Ewoks movies on TV.
There was 2. I only remember one of them, and I didn't. I guess 2. I never went back. I did watch the cartoon, though.
Yes.
The
Ewoks. I keep interrupting you. Talk about Star Wars. The Ewoks cartoon was better than the Droids cartoon.
Yes.
That's the part when you say there was a Droids cartoon.
No, I remember there being a Droids cartoon.
I remember an advertisement in the comics for a Droids cartoon. I don't remember the cartoon. I never saw it.
I remember seeing the Droids toys, never picked them up, and those are the more expensive ones to get nowadays, because not many people bought them.
And I'm always willing to wait a few minutes to show another comic. If you're not finished with the last topic. This is Roy, number 1. Gilbert Hernandez. And I don't know who Natalia Hernandez is. Could be his daughter, I would think. But she does a strip in here too. And I can barely describe to you what this comic is. It's just, I said my take on Gilbert Hernandez is he creates characters and has them do things. And what they do seems to have no rhyme or reason sometimes. There's Roy dressed in a nun's habit for no reason except he was staying with nuns and they said, put a habit on. And in the middle, we get another comic by who I assume is Natalia Hernandez, because the art changes. And it's just a little story about aliens coming down to Earth and helping out this woman for a moment. And it might be the same aliens that are in the other story.
She has a completely different style.
Yes, completely different style. I don't know who she. This is the first time I've seen her work. I assume he must have. It's either got to be his wife or daughter, and if it was his wife, she'd probably be around a lot more. We'd have seen her a lot earlier than now. So I figure maybe she's a daughter of his, and he wanted to do some work with her.
Yeah, Grand Comics Database says she's his daughter, Gilbert's daughter, but there's no birth date for her.
Yeah, but the story's just crazy. Roy is just this guy walking around. He falls out of the sky at first, actually, and then there's these things. Well, what are their names? The Fruits, F-R-O-A-T. They're these alien creatures right here. Who there's all different fruits walk. They're like, oh no, these are the deadly fruits. Oh no, these are the harmless fruits. And then this guy right here, what's his name? Little Stunt Boy. So it was just this guy right here, Little Stunt Boy. When the fruits come on and start trouble, Little Stunt Boy shows up and beats them up, and he smushes them into cubes. And once fruits go into their cube state, you can eat them. So some of them have fruits for dinner.
So we finally found something in a comic that we can eat.
Yes.
So they're like smooths?
It's just like I said, I think Gilbert's style is he just creates characters and then has them do stuff. There's not really a plot per se. They do stuff. And then at the end, they stop doing stuff. And I enjoy it all, but I don't think there's like a larger plot idea going on in a lot of his stuff. Even with his what's the name of his town? I forget the name of his town again. Where all the stories take place in Love and Rockets. He's got the name of it. I can't even remember it. Even in that town, I think the characters just constantly interact and things happen and they go off on little storylines and come back. But there's no overall point to the whole plot. It's just interacting. Like I said, I like it, but I think you got to know that going in. Because it seems like there should be an overall point to the plot, but I don't think there is. SBPT says, I never saw the Jedi movie as a kid because my younger brother was afraid of Ewoks. There is a dividing line. If you're my age, you hate the Ewoks. If you're a little bit younger than me and then on, you love the Ewoks. Because the Ewoks were definitely aimed at a much younger audience. And if you were like 10 years old when you saw the original Star Wars, you thought it was serious. And by the time 1983 rolled around and you were, 16, 17, you expected serious from your Star Wars. Then the Ewoks showed up and you were like, oh, this isn't serious. But if you were a kid when you first saw the Ewoks, which is everybody, on, because if you're born now, you first see the Ewoks as a kid.
Yoda should have been your first clue.
It wasn't. Nobody caught on. Everybody who was like first generation Star Wars was like, this is the greatest thing. And I always say that for like that first generation Star Wars fan who was like 10 or 12, what year did it come out? 77?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Star Wars was your first religious experience. What I mean by that is there's so many sort of religious undertones in Star Wars that people came out of there like, wow, they took it seriously. It is the greatest thing ever. Besides it being a lot of fun, they took sort of the religious undertones seriously, as if they were a serious thing, which is why, actual Jedi religion was started, kind of thing, or whatever it was. So the Ewoks hit my people my age like a bucket of cold water in the face. It was like, no, how could they do that? Because George Lucas was making kids movies.
George Lucas had kids by the time the Ewoks came
but
in.
looking back, Yoda should have been the first clue.
Mm-hmm.
Just Yoda's speech pattern. There's
Yeah.
no rhyme or reason for that. In fact, I'm pretty convinced that they were making it up on the spot as they were recording the voice.
Mm-hmm.
The way the rules of how Yoda was supposed to talk. But then there are things, like when Luke's training in Dagobah and he's carrying Yoda on his back, and Yoda beats him with a stick. Okay, that is a puppet theater. That should have been your clue that you were watching something for kids.
Nope.
It should have been, but it wasn't. Even I can remember when
except the revelation that Darth Vader was Luke's father. That was made for the adults who had gone with the kids to watch the movie.
What was the name of the
a soap opera moment?
What was the name of the first prequel?
The Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. I can remember I was at Marvel. What year did Phantom Menace come out? 92, maybe?
I think so. I don't. No, not 92.
Yeah, it was later than that.
It was later than that.
There were computers.
97.
Yeah, because there were computers at Marvel. It was the early computers days. I can remember, and of course at Marvel there are tons of Star Wars fans. 1999.
1999.
Oh, that late? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was that late.
Oh,
wow.
I wish I kept the letter.
Captain Finity and SVPT said, we're like, wow. It must have been the re-release was the early 90s.
Yes. They were the re-release that came out right before that.
So by the time 1999 rolled around, Marvel had computers. It was still the early days of computers. But when the trailer came out for Phantom Menace, of course, everybody was huddled around their computers. I think it was one. I don't even know how we got trailers in 1999. I don't know if there was a site for them or whatever, but everyone's huddled around someone's computer watching the trailer over and over again, examining it, going, oh, wow, oh, my goodness, oh, wow, oh, this, oh, holy cow, oh, wow, oh, wow. And I'm like, none of you noticed Jar Jar Binks? None of you noticed that weird robot talking that? And none of them did that. I was like, and it was like eventually the rap on Phantom Menace became to be Jar Jar Binks ruined the movie. But I was watching the trailer going, y'all don't notice this weird, like you said, Yoda should have been the clue but wasn't. Jar Jar Binks should have been the clue but wasn't when everybody was watching the trailer. And
they were going to reveal that Jar Jar Binks was the Sith Master.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember the letter that went out about Star Wars, the Phantom Menace? So at Marvel, right before the weekend it was coming out, I think it came out either a Thursday or a Friday. I don't remember the date, but a letter went out to everybody at Marvel. I don't recall if it was emailed or whatever, but there was a letter that basically said, we are all aware that the biggest thing since the first Star Wars is coming out. If you're going to call in sick that day, make sure you have all your work done. So it pretty much says, look, we know you're going to not show up for this day. Just make sure everything is done.
Don't leave us in the lurch.
Yeah. So I think it might have been, it was definitely through editorial. That letter came out.
Let's see. Captain Infinity says the idea of two people French kissing suddenly being twins that made me nope out. Oh, they weren't French kissing. That was
They
just a
were
little
French
peck.
kissing. It was a peck, and at that time of the storyline, they were not brothers and sisters
Yeah.
yet. As you
That
said, making it up on the spot,
yes.
that was being made up on the spot.
That made me. I can remember back in those days hearing, "Oh, well, George Lucas has this whole 12-part thing planned out." I was like, "No, he doesn't.
No, he does not.
He didn't even
He
know Luke and Leia were brother and sister. Don't tell me he had a
he
huge
did.
fall planned out."
He might have had an outline. He might have had an idea, but there was no plan for that.
SBPT says, "My only Star Wars movie at the cinema was Episode 1. Jar Jar was our villain and Liam Neeson our role model."
Nah. Now everybody was expecting great things from Darth Maul, and then he gets bitched out by the thing. Yeah, but Darth Maul is a bit like uh,
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
It
Yeah,
was a
because
character
everybody
that
thinks he's
showed up and got off real quick. But
yeah.
again, it's just one of those things that visually everyone wanted to just see to see him really kick ass, and it just didn't happen. He showed up, the fact that he was being played by the Toad. Oh no, this before he played the Toad.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what
yeah,
made him famous. Yeah, he became the Toad
exactly.
afterwards. That's right. Sorry. So it was like it was just the visuals, a double-sided lightsaber. You had to go to it, you know.
And he did martial arts. There had never been martial arts on physical fighting in Star Wars.
And it was fast laser sword fighting that they never had
Mhm.
before. Because we always saw
Yeah,
the two old men,
yeah. In the first movies,
fight. Yes,
even when it was Luke, it was a boom,
right.
boom, boom.
It was Luke fighting another old man because
Yeah,
they were knights sword fighting. They
Right.
weren't Jackie Chan sword
They
fighting.
weren't ninja.
That's right.
In 1997 were the special sucky retcom editions, as
yes.
Captain Infinity
Yep, yep.
said.
Han shot first.
And at that time, Star Wars was published by Dark Horse. Yeah, I always said I always found it amazing that, like I said, I've known tons of Star Wars fans around my age. Tons. I'm in comics, I'm in art school. Of course, I know tons of Star Wars fans. None of them read the Star Wars comics. They may have read the Marvel one when they were kids, but none of them. And I was always like, I always found that weird. And
That
they're always like, well, it's not, none of the comics are about Luke and Leia. That's why they
well,
didn't read them.
Yeah,
because as being younger than you and then being I like the Ewoks generation.
Right.
My group read the books,
Mm-hmm.
the novelizations, because they continued the stories.
Right.
Read the comics, especially the Dark Horse ones, because those were like they were well written. They
Mm-hmm.
they redid some of the books, and it was the continuing adventures.
Right.
I did drop the Marvel books at the time when it stopped being about the main cast
Right.
and they like brought in other creatures like that rabbit. So once that group was like the important group, it's like this isn't Star Wars for me. So I didn't
right.
care about that. But the Dark Horse books I
Yeah.
did read for quite some time. I even had fun with the like Dark Horse books that took place in Star Wars but wasn't Star Wars fully canon, like when they crash land on Earth and
Mm-hmm.
Chewbacca became the legend for Bigfoot. And again, a non-canon story, but it was through Dark Horse. So Indiana Jones found Han's body. So that silliness was perfectly fine for me through Dark Horse. And those are like tales of Star Wars, where it was like I like the concept and the idea. It's like here's some stuff, but we're not sticking way to canon.
Yeah, to me, I've always preferred the Star Trek expanded universe to the Star Wars expanded universe because I understand that the way that the story moves in both is different. Star Wars is an epic, so you follow the main hero, and there's a couple of side characters who are there to make sure that the main hero does what he's supposed to do. Star Trek is an ensemble cast.
Yes.
Everyone has a role. You can follow each role if you want. It's a bit like in a pulp universe, and you can, if you do a novel about Biggs Darklighter, not even the most Star Wars movie fans won't care. But if you do a novel about Chief O'Brien, the Star Trek nerds will read it.
Yes.
Let's see
And
what
I
we
also
got.
had fun with the Star Trek comics.
SBPT says Dark Horse's manga version of Episode 1 is amazing. Okay, I've never seen. I always liked Marvel. I always liked that rushed Howard Chaykin adaptation of Star Wars. I always had a soft spot for that.
The manga, the Star Wars manga, became really popular. That Topps did sketch cards in that manga style. And again, this was back when Lucasfilms was approving stuff, and they were always gun ho for, hey, do this, do something different, but it's still that same universe, but trying out stuff, and the manga stuff was quite popular.
The score Duel of Fates in the trailer made us want to see the movie.
Oh yeah, the whole trailer did, because again, you were warned with Jar Jar Binks, but we're like, oh, new aliens, new creatures. It's like, is that C-3PO? Things like that.
Oh yeah, that's what. I was the only one going, you didn't notice that weird guy who spoke like a cartoon Kermit the Frog?
Nope.
Nope.
No, I didn't. I didn't have a problem with Jar Jar Binks.
That's you were the adult in the room. The rest of them were kids watching the trailer, thinking back when they were kids watching the trailer.
I can still remember when the movie came out because I didn't see it. But as a matter of fact, I think Marvel was on 40th Street then. I have a vague memory of it. And I remember asking Paul Toutrone, I was like, well, how was it? And he was like, it was okay. It wasn't great, but it was still okay. And then I didn't even try to watch it till it was on cable. And I assumed that they meant it was, and other people said, it wasn't very good. Well, I assumed they meant it wasn't very good, like for a Star Wars movie. They still kind of liked it. I did not make it more than 20 minutes through that movie. When watching it, I'm like, oh my God, this is bad. I'm like, this isn't just bad for a Star Wars movie. This is bad for a movie. So I didn't even make it. I haven't seen any of the. I've seen the TV shows now that they're on. I mean, I just finished watching Andor. I've watched The Mandalorians, but I haven't seen anything past Jedi.
Oh, okay.
I just skipped it all, and I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, so. But I gotta say, so many people I know love the Andor show. I thought it was just okay. It's like, it's all right. It's this. Have you watched Andor?
Yes, I've watched everything Star Wars, cartoons and all the other stuff. I enjoyed Andor.
I enjoyed it. I watched the whole thing.
It was very entertaining, very thriller. I enjoyed things like The Mandalorian a whole lot more.
Yeah, I like that.
I liked that a lot because that felt, for lack of a better term, more like Star Wars. I enjoyed Ahsoka because it was, ending chapter stuff that started in the cartoon stuff. So I enjoyed all that. So there is very little of it that I dislike. I can say, like, I enjoyed The Phantom Menace when I watched it, but it wasn't like, oh, well, we got something entertaining. Yeah. And it's like, maybe, at one point that, well, maybe it's for kids. And it's like, no, I don't think kids really care about trade federations.
No,
and,
that was not for
and those
kids.
kind of blockades and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe the math kids like that kind of stuff.
That was for the Star. That was for the Star Trek crowd. 'Cause
Yeah.
Star Trek fans think they're much more intelligent than Star Wars fans.
Right.
And
But
as I've said, I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but Luke Skywalker showing up in The Mandalorian was like the greatest thing ever. They
yes,
did that so well.
that's what everyone wanted the
Yeah.
next set of movies to be, and
And
we
they
never
pulled
got
it
it.
off.
And that's why you could watch videos of grown men crying in that
Oh,
scene
yeah.
because that's what they really
I've
wanted.
watched that scene more than I've watched any other Star
Yes.
Wars thing because it is
Yes,
so
it's
well done. Have you
so
seen
well
that,
done.
Paolo?
No.
Oh, it's
It's so good. It's a treat.
what it is. I'll explain it to you just because it's so well done. First of all, it ended season 2 of The Mandalorian, right?
I believe so.
So there was this whole big plot line with the Mandalorian running around, and he found I think his name is Grogu now. Everybody called him
Grogu.
Baby Yoda because
Right.
he didn't
So
have a.
he didn't
So
get a
he's
name
wandering around
until
with this
the end.
force, and eventually he and he gets his crew, and he's a tough guy, the Mandalorian. I mean, he can handle himself. And he's got a crew of who Ming-Na Wen is with him, and
Right. So
a
she's
few other.
another bounty hunter.
There's a crew of
And
like 4 bounty hunters, I think they are.
a couple of them are bounty hunters. Cora Dean was a survivor of Alderaan, and so she became kind of like gun for hire,
Right.
kind of a character. So it
But
was like
it's a team of badasses. There's about
yes,
4 of them.
yes.
A team of badasses and Baby Yoda, and they end up what kind of like a destroyer or something they end up on.
Right.
I don't know the names of the Star Wars ships.
So some of the leftover remnants of the Empire are still operating.
Right.
It's only about 5 years after Return of the Jedi, thereabouts. It wasn't that long after the fall of the Empire. So there's still remnants of the Empire who are kind of acting more like thugs at that point, and they still control their area.
Yeah.
And one of the characters, Grand Moff, I forget his name.
The guy from Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, right. So he's the Grand Moff of this thing, and he has what are called Death Troopers.
Oh
And
yeah.
he's been wanting the baby because they
Right.
started off as a trying to find a kid kind of a
Right.
thing.
Everybody's
Mandalorian
after the kid, kind of. It's a
Everyone's
lone
after the
wolf and
kid.
cub thing. The first
Very much so.
season.
Lone Wolf and Cub Western
But
edition.
anyway, they all Mandalorian and his gang there end up on this Star Destroyer. With the kid, they're trying to. I can't remember if they're trying to escape at this point or get something. But
They were getting the kid because he had captured the kid.
Okay, he had captured the kid, so they're going to get the kid, and they have this. They have what are called these dark troopers, who are robots. They're killer robots, and like the Mandalorian, they're trying to get, and there's only like one of them. There's like a whole cadre of them, but they managed to get them thrown out into space somehow. There's still a couple left, and they got to get through these 2 killer robots, and it takes them like 15 minutes to make it past this one robot. They get the kid. They like lock themselves in like the
Control room.
The control room. But all of a sudden, all the killer robots fly back onto the ship. And the guy from Breaking Bad is like, my killer robots are going to get you. And so they're like, oh, crap. Because they had trouble taking out one of these killer robots. And now there's 50 of them. So they march up to the control room. They close the blast doors on the control room, and the robots just sit there and just start punching. They're like going like Rock'em Sock'em robots. They're just punching the door, making their way through it. And like the Mandalorian and his gang are just sitting there like, uh-oh, what are we doing? These robots get in here. And the Breaking Bad guy is just gloating. He's like, you're all going to die now. You're all going to die. And all of a sudden the alarm goes off. And they're like, what's that? And they're like, it's an X-Wing. And the one lady's like, oh, great, one X-Wing. We're saved. And of course, you know who it is on the X-Wing.
Well, you
And
don't. That's the thing is
well,
that
you don't, but you
because
know.
if you heard about the rumors and stuff like that, they said that it might have been one of the other Jedis that survived.
Right.
So they were always rumors that there were other Jedis out there or former Jedis.
Right.
So they did a really good campaign to let everyone believe it's going to be another Jedi. Because in the series, they already introduced Ahsoka.
Right.
She was helping them try to contact any kind of Jedi that would be able to help Baby Yoda. So they had already sent out a call for help a few episodes back. So they saw, and they had run into TIE fighters because by this point in the series, TIE fighters have become space cops. So they've run into a few. So they thought their message of help went out to one space cop. So we didn't know who was going to actually be flying on there.
But they do a really good. If just go, if you even if you don't watch The Mandalorian, just go and watch this scene in the last episode of I think season 2.
Yes.
And it's shot so. First of all, you got to see how powerful and terrifying Jedi are. Because here are these, like I said, they're a crew of badasses. And what's cool too is they've got these little, like in the control room, they've got like these little black and white screens. Like the filmmaking was so well done. They've got like these little black and white security screens on, and like half the action is taking place on this little black and white security screen.
So when you see the lightsaber light up, you don't know what color it is. So
Yeah,
you're
that was
not
one of
even sure which Jedi it could be.
like I
And
was
we're all hoping for him,
I
but there was a
I don't
chance it
know any
may
of this.
not have been him.
Not being a Star Wars fan, I don't know all that stuff that's going around. I'm like, that's Luke. That's clearly Luke Scott. I don't know colors of, but and he is just wading through these dark troopers who like the 4 badasses that had trouble taking out one. Luke Skywalker is just wading through them. He's just hitting them with a lightsaber. He's crushing some of them with the Force. He's just throwing them around. It's like they shouldn't even be there. that's how powerful he. And you're just like, oh my god. And I'm like, how did these Jedi lose the war? If this is how powerful one Jedi is, how did they ever lose the war? Because he's just. And it also made me realize the way that scene was shot. What always kind of annoyed me about Jedi and lightsabers sometimes is when you see like a Jedi block a blaster with his lightsaber. And I'm always like, oh, come on. That's not, how do you block him? But that scene made me realize that he wasn't blocking the blasters with his lightsaber. He was using the Force to make the blast go into his lightsaber. So it wasn't like he had to be faster than the blasts with his wrist because it was all the Force. He was just making them. He was moving the lightsaber a little, but he was using the Force to bend the actual blasters into his lightsaber. So I was like, oh, that makes sense to me now. But that, like I said, just check out that scene if you've never seen The Mandalorian, just because it's so well done.
And the great thing with the acting is that once the leader, the bad guy, realizes who it is, the fear in his face is wonderful, because as far as he is aware of, there were 3 people on the Death Star. It was Vader, the Emperor, and Luke Skywalker, and only one of them walked away.
Yeah.
And so there's already a legend of Luke Skywalker that he's so afraid that he tries to take his life.
And all the badasses were like, oh my God, it's a Jedi. Holy crap. And when he finally waded his way through the last bit of Dark Troopers, the Mandalorian goes, open the door. And the other woman goes, what are you, crazy? Because they didn't want to let the Jedi in. They were as afraid of him as they were the other guy. But it was like, it's just, I have watched just that scene 10 times over the years because it is so well. It's the best part of all of the Star Wars, I think.
Oh
Is
yeah, that was
Luke
worth
Skywalker.
That was
And,
worth watching
and of
that
course,
series.
at the end, once the blast doors opens, he takes his hood off finally, and you see it's de-aged Mark Hamill.
Yep. Oh yeah, and again, there are plenty of YouTube channels showing that scene with people
Yeah,
reacting
for
to
people
it,
reacting and
and
just
it's so
crying.
great. It is so
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, Kia Sama did the art. That's on the
Oh, okay, yeah.
manga version. Took me Captain Finity. It took me a long time to realize Lucas was lying about ever having a plan beyond 1977. He did. It took me just when I heard he had a plan, and then like Rogue One and Solar are my guilty. I still haven't watched those. I'm gonna. The Acolyte
Rogue
too.
One is very good.
The Power of One. Thanks for the tip. I'm going to totally look at that episode. No problem, Liz. Like I said,
Yeah,
just watch
definitely watch it.
that. Just watching that scene, it's great. Yeah, fanboys were in tears watching. It will make you emotional.
Yes.
It was the first time they used Kleenex that didn't involve Matthew. Yeah, like it is so, and I just love the filmmaking of it. And there's also, for Star Wars hardcore fans out there, one part of it was shot for shot Darth Vader crushing people. And you can once again go on YouTube and see a side by side. Like the part where he's like at the end where he's in the final corridor with the Death Troopers is
Yes.
like there's the same scene with Darth Vader killing people then, people
it's
that way.
become kind of a trope to
Yeah.
have someone have a corridor scene.
Right.
It's become something because Darth Vader had one in Rogue One.
Okay.
And that's where it came from.
That was Rogue One? All right.
It was Rogue One, and it's a wonderful scene because, again, it's one of those things that is part of it, and it's just Vader going all at it. It's very similar type thing. So I do recommend Rogue One.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna.
If
Someone
you,
said after you watch Andor, watch Rogue One, so I'm gonna have to watch
yes,
that next. So, because
definitely
it
do
leads
that.
into it.
It leads right into it. Yes,
So
and
I'm gonna have to do that.
it's very, and again, it's Star Wars in that sense.
Right.
So Rogue One brings that feeling back, I would say.
Yeah. But like that scene is like I said, I really do like the comic. I really do like the original adaptation that Howard Chaykin hates because he had to rush through it. I
Right.
actually still like that. And of course, I liked the Al Williamson ones too, the one that spoiled the second movie.
Right.
But those are pretty well done too.
Yeah, I enjoy, the Star Wars books were some of my very first books because it was like, picking up Star
That's
Wars
right.
comics.
I read the Star Wars comic. I read the Star Wars novelization long before I saw the movie. I just didn't bother to go see the movie because I didn't really care.
And after you watch Rogue One, you could go right into Star Wars. Because it basically, you could almost watch it all back to back because it's basically
actually
the next day.
10, 11-year-old Jared was a little cynical too.
Okay.
Too many people liked Star Wars. I was like, too many people like it, the movie. I don't need to see it. I can be the one who hasn't seen it. That can be my distinction.
My brother is like that. It's like, oh, too many people are talking about this movie. I don't want to see it now. It's like, just enjoy the movie.
Yeah. I think I saw it on it ran on TV first. It didn't run on like cable. It ran on network TV. I think that's when I first watched it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how I first watched it, was on television.
And it may have not run until like 1983.
That sounds about right.
I think when they first got that one out, it was when it finally ran.
I would say the only reason why I know the story is because I had one of the books as a kid. And the books basically is the whole story, but it's a picture book.
Right.
And it's like there's a famous one that's R2 and 3PO on the cover. And it's Star Wars, a storybook. And so you even get to read the deleted stuff where Biggs is introduced to Luke while they're still on Tatooine, right before the droids landed on the planet. You do get a little scene with Luke.
SBPT says, give Solo a chance before seeing Rogue and New Hope. So you're saying watch Solo and then Rogue One? Okay.
You can, you don't, that continuity wise, yeah, that one is, in timeline is first. It's not necessarily needed, but if it's something you want to watch, it's fun.
Captain Finity, look at these blast points, Luke. Only Tusken Raiders are so precise. Classic lines.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
show you the last 2 comics I got before we go, or last 3. Robot Tad, Farrell Del Rimper, weird comic. The latest issue of World Tree. I'm going to go bigger because I love this cover. We continue the sort of origin story of the villain in this one in the future. Excellent stuff. And Radiant Black 36. This was a one-off about a Radiant Yellow character. Good stuff, because there's other colors. They're like the Power Rangers.
Right.
And occasionally, I guess to give the regular artist a break, they do one-offs of other characters. But those are the last 3 I think I got this week. Good week for comics, I must say. But it was weird that I got 3 that ended and 2 that began. Strange.
And it's strange on the number that they ended on.
Yeah.
It's like that they just
10 and
stopped.
4, 5.
They just stop, or that's where the story took them.
Yeah, and 1 was meant to go to 10. 1 was meant to go to 5, and 1 was 10 was a surprise. Birthday balloons for Jared. Yeah.
There we go.
Some birthday balloons. No doubt. Yeah, let's give you some big balloons. Let's try this. Big balloons. All right.
There you go.
And some confetti and some lasers.
Gotta have the lasers.
And some rain. Let's get the double thumbs down is always like the toughest one. Because how do you do a double thumb? Is there a money one? No, I gotta get that one.
No, you can't make it rain like that.
Nope. Nope, I was trying.
No, that money goes to the comic books.
That comical book. I got a lot of stuff to show. I showed a lot of stuff this week between the Walking Dead's random eBay stuff, birthday stuff, comic shop stuff.
Quite a bit of stuff. What if you do thumbs up and a thumbs down?
I don't think so. Let's see. What about Reed Ripper Slab from Jared's year of birth? We'll set one up for next week for that. That's a good idea. We should do an all Reed Rip and Slab week sometime. I got a ton of we haven't done one in a month or 2, so
right.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah, but I still have a lot of them in the pipeline, so we can always do them. But we're ending now, so
yeah. With all of the switching back and forth, we end up not doing good. Also, we had the people going to conventions and stuff. So
right, it's been busy.
Yep.
A lot of comics, but I always have them in the. I've got a bunch of them set off, so whenever we need to do some, I got them. Eat more, and remember, eat more comics.
Remember, kids, eat more comics.
Okay, y'all have a good week out there.
Take care.
We'll catch you next week on Paulo's channel.
Good night, everybody.